Welcome and good evening to the Martoma State Cathedral as we enter into our next parents webinar, which again continues this week with Reverend Dr. Tom Thomas, MSFS, as we will be exploring the risks and dangers of social media to kids and teens. And so in the parenting in this age of social media is highly beneficial to the progress and growth of our humanity. But during these trying times of COVID-19 pandemic, education is done mostly through social media. But however, there is a widespread consumption of media among the kids and teens, and it has severe consequences on their brain development and behavior. Symptoms of ADHD were found in children who are addicted to video games. And pornography distorts the young minds and hinders healthy sexual developments. And so today, being Reverend Dr. Tom Thomas's last sessions with us, he'll be leaving us shortly to his homeland, India. And so let us enjoy this last wisdom from him and his heart, and giving us and really imparting the knowledge of really knowing more about this topic. And so let us pray in a short way as we say, in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven.
Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen.
Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with you. Blessed are you among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus.
Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen.
Through the intercession of our Blessed Virgin Mary and all the angels and saints, we pray all glory to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Thank you, Melbourne Hutton. Good evening, friends, and welcome to this 10th session of parenting. This is a Sunday evening, a cloudy day here in Chicago. I don't know how it's in the other parts of this country. Anyway, it's a nice time to relax at home. But I appreciate you for taking time to be part of this webinar today, because it's an important matter that we are discussing. All these days we had been discussing about different aspects of parenting. Today we are focusing on the social media particularly, and how the social media is impacting our children and the youth. We all know that without this social media, we cannot survive now. Most of you must be working from home now. Thanks to the social media, we can do that. And the children are studying from home. Many of them don't have to go to school because of the situation that we are facing now. The COVID-19 is affecting the whole world. The whole world is utilizing this wonderful gift of the social media today. And we know that this has a lot to give us, and without which we won't be able to really survive today. However, there are some risk factors. If you don't use this in the proper way, we can endanger the coming generation and endanger the humanity. So what we are going to do here is we are going to explore some of the risks and dangers of social media to our kids and teens. Two major risk factors are, first one is the overconsumption of media. Spending too much of time with media, which probably all of you, most of you would agree that children are using more than what they need. Maybe we ourselves are doing that. Not only children. We also spend a lot of time sometimes on the media, social media. And the second part of it is what they are viewing, what they are hearing, listening to. So this is very important, because we become what we see and we become what we listen to. So it's very important to pay attention to what they are watching, what they are listening to, and also the time that they spend in social media. Excuse me. So I would like to explore a little bit on these two aspects, particularly the overconsumption of media makes a person addicted, and wrong content makes a person distorted. If I continue to use media, I'll be addicted. Any behavior is that way can be addictive. Some people argue that only the substances can make people addicted, but then behavior also can be addictive. That's what we experience. So now we live in a world without filter, a world which is unfiltered, and the things that come to us are just flying to us. Just like, we have air conditioning in our car. Suppose you don't change the filter sometimes, you don't get the right fresh air. Also for the homes, you need to change the filter sometimes. Suppose you have a water purifier, you need to change the filter, because this filter can stop unwanted stuff from coming. So with regards to the social media too, we need to have certain filters. Parenting in this age of social media can be challenging, and what the parents can do is to bring these filters into the media world. So parenting has never been easy. All of us agree on that point. It is harder now than 20 years ago or 40 years ago. So parenting has become more challenging with the rise of the social media. Children are so much into the media world. They are born into this media world. So naturally, it has its own challenges and advantages. Probably you remember your younger days. I remember going to school, I used to walk. Coming back, walking miles, almost 3 miles, I had to walk. Once you get home, then the next thing is you have some tiffin or some coffee, and then you jump out. You want to play. I used to go and play volleyball those days. Even from the 6th grade onwards, I used to play volleyball. So that gives energy. After playing, you jump into the river and have a good, shower, and you come back, you are fresh. You have dinner, and then you can study, you can do things, you can pray, lot of things. We don't worry about anything else. We are not even, there was not even TV those days. So we have nothing else. We just enjoyed our life in a situation which was very different from the situation our kids are in. Now you look at the children, what they do after coming back from school. They just, sit back or lie down and relax. How do they relax? They relax with these gadgets. Either phone or tablet or laptop or computers, they have something. They have a screen. They have a screen. So this screen time, how much is too much? That's the question. We cannot just say that, they should not use this. They need to use it. They have to use it. They have many things to do with that. Also, they need to have some entertainment. They need to play and they need to enjoy life. We had the opportunities to play outside. We could do many things outside. Now, things are slightly different. So they also need time to relax. They need time to play. But then how much is too much? That's the question. How much is too much? Parents with young children themselves make clear they are anxious about the effects of the screen time on children. So too much screen time can be very, very damaging to the children. So 71% of parents of a child under the age of 12 say that they are at least somewhat concerned that children are using or spending too much time in front of the TV or on the screen. So 71% have some concern about the time that children are using on the screen, in front of the screen. And among these 71%, 31 are seriously worried about. They have major concern about the use. So we need to find some healthy alternatives. That's one thing. The screen time is important, I said, but then they also should have some other ways of spending and enjoying time. This research, what I just gave is a result of a research done in 2018 that was done before the COVID-19. So now the situation is much more serious because children are at home all the time and they are having access to the screen all the time. So the amount of time that they spend on the screen is much more these days, and it is sometimes alarming and it is dangerous to them. So we need to find some healthy ways to help them to reduce the screen time and utilize it in the right way. There are so many, apps that can be there that they are using these days. YouTube remains as the number one now these days. Instagram, Snapshot, Facebook used to be the first one, number one till 18, but now Facebook has come down. Twitter, and all these things are used by the young people too. The Snapchat is so much is used now these days. Now WhatsApp, of course, WhatsApp takes a prominent role. There are 2 billion users around the globe. So WhatsApp is used by 2 billion people, and India is the largest user of WhatsApp. There are some 360 million users of WhatsApp in India. So it's a good thing, we can connect with people. I'm here now, I call my parents, I call my family. You can connect with the world. This is beautiful, this is wonderful. We don't have to spend money for this. I remember when I came here in 2006, to make a call to India, I had to buy a card, scratch out the thing and get the number, then you dial on a land phone. You speak for 3 minutes, 5 minutes, it's over. $5 gone within no time. Now the situation is different. We don't have to do that. We have this possibility of using these things anytime with the precision and clarity we can speak. It's wonderful. Also, we can have video calling. Those days we could only speak. Now we can see and call. This is beautiful. But then the thing is that sometimes overconsumption of this thing also can be dangerous. So WhatsApp is a mobile messaging application founded in 2009 by Brian Acton and Jan Cohen. Their aim was to provide users with an alternative to traditional text messaging. As we see these WhatsApp statistics, it is safe to say that they have been able to achieve that goal and much more. In 2014, WhatsApp was acquired by Facebook for $19 billion. So it's a huge industry. All these media, they are making money. We are using it freely, but they make a lot of money too. You know that. Now YouTube has emerged as the key platform for both younger and older kids. 89% of the parents of child age between 5 to 11 say their child watches videos on YouTube. We all know these things. So 81 of those who have a child between 3 to 4 also say the same. 57% of the even child with 2 or under 2 years of age, they also watch YouTube. So even 1 year, 1.5 years, 2 years children also, they also watch things on YouTube. And they just get it. I have seen kids, at home also I could see. With the tiny fingers, they'll go and they can find out what. They know where to click to get what they want. They are very smart these days, much smarter than all of us used to be. Now, is useful, I said, is highly useful, it is much needed, but it is dangerous also. So many parents whose child uses YouTube create platform for entertaining and educating their children, and that is so true. We need to have this platform for their education, also for their entertainment. But a majority of these parents are concerned about their child being exposed to inappropriate content on the video sharing sites. So sometimes it's not intentional that children come across these kind of things. It is just accidental. Once they are exposed to such a content, then they also get dragged into, they get sucked into that. So there's a problem. So most of the time it's not because children, they are bad or they want watch something bad, but they happen to get into this. And once they are exposed, then this is pleasurable, this is enjoyable, and they repeat the behavior, and then they look forward to opportunity to do it again, and slowly they can get addicted. And there is a dangerous effect of such behaviors. You know, there are alarming statistics due to the overconsumption of media and the wrong things communicated to them through the media. Teenage suicide have increased 46% from 2008 to 2015. This is a serious matter, my dear friends. Yeah, these days, you know, convenience are much more, opportunities are much more, still children are not happy. There is something happening with them. There is a sadness, a pervasive sadness taking over their life. They have all the things available and needed, but then they are not happy. So it indicates that using overconsumption of media is not going to make somebody happy. Rather, it can make somebody sad or even depressed. So teenage suicide is a serious matter. It's a matter of concern. Teens who spend 3 or more hours per day on social media are 35% more likely to have at least one suicide risk factor. Sometimes we see children, they are happy, they have a holiday, and they are happy, they are playing this video morning till evening, and it's not going to make them happy. It's going to affect them very negatively. And such children have more suicide risk because this is going to affect their brain chemistry in a very negative way. 8th graders spend 6 hours a week or more on social media are 47 more likely to say they are unhappy. We think that will make them happy. It does not make them happy. They will fight for that. They will scream, they will yell, they will throw things and throw tantrum, but then ultimately they are not happy. We need to communicate this to the children, and we need to teach them and instruct them in a way that they can understand. In a healthy manner, we need to communicate them. This is, instead of making them happy, is making them sad. Once you communicate this matter to them, and once they experience the same thing, now they will match what you said and what they are experiencing. Then there is a likelihood of correcting that behavior. So in the past, we spoke about yelling at children. So yelling and things won't work with them, and they will also start yelling. That does not help much. What is important is to communicate to them in a way that they can understand. Sometimes they may not buy to that. Still, it's okay. They will get that message slowly. When they experience the truth that you are speaking, they will come back. So unlimited screen time exhausts children and makes them depressed. This is the reality. This is a scientific study. So we need to understand this reality. So giving them, unlimited freedom to use this media, social media, does not help them. One danger is AAA, that is not roadside assistance. AAA means these things are easily available, it is affordable, and it is accessible. So this is the danger. So everything is there at the fingertip, and it is affordable. Anybody can get this, he can have this, and it is accessible. So 95% of teens report that they have a smartphone or access to smartphone. Either they have a phone or they can have their mom's phone or dad's phone, so they use it. 95. Only very few, 5% of the children do not have access to a smartphone. 39% of parents with the kids age 4 to 16 use parental control. That means 39% of parents have some control over the usage of the media, social media of their children. When they say, okay, this is the time that you can use this, and only this much time you can use, and they have that control, they obey. And children also are aware of this truth that they also need some control. Sometimes they do things which they don't want to because they don't have the self-control. So some of the children also would like to have some parental control. So if you get them on your side, they will also agree to have some control. I know one boy who had a problem with phone. He used to sit up late at night with his phone, and it was affecting his next day and his studies. And his dad told him, my son, do one thing. Till 9 o'clock, you can use the phone just for the necessary things. 9 o'clock, you bring your phone and keep in my room. And if you need anything, please let me know. Otherwise, it will stay in my room. And this boy told me that was very helpful. He told that was very effective, because if this phone sits in his room, after some time he will get a temptation to pick up the phone, look at something. When it is in dad's room, parents' room, he will not go for that. And there are some others who they lock the phone in a nice box and keep the key somewhere else so that they will not have access to it. Some of the clients who come to me with this problem, particularly children who struggle with this issue, I tell them to do this. What they need to do is they need to use the phone, they need to use the laptop. Suppose I need to study, I have to use the laptop, but then when I sit at night with my study materials, I end up watching something else. This is a constant phenomena. This is what is happening constantly. If that is the case, I am not really doing much good to my studies by sitting late at night. So keeping this laptop here is not helping me. So what I can do, I do these works earlier, and night, if this is a problem, I take some books or get some printout and read things. And I have helped some college-going students, and they said, yeah, that was helpful. So some of those things are important. Some control in a healthy way. If you control, they should not feel that you're intruding into their freedom and you're controlling, but then you're helping them to control themselves. So that's important. Now, 50% of kids in the US have a social media account by the age of 12. This is something that we need to know. 50% of the kids have an account in the social media by the age of 12. Snapchat reports that its active users open the app on an average 25 times per day. That is quite a bit. Average 25 times a day is a quite good number. And many include pornographic material. Sexualized images are popular on social media, we know. Teen posts videos or stories about homosexuality, transgender, self-injury, suicide, racism, medications. These are the topics of interest for the teens. So they are passing these things to their friends, and they are posting these things. So these are the matters of interest for them. So they get sucked into this. They spend enormous amount of time viewing and sharing these things. So another thing that is very important in this area is the video game addiction. So the social media, the communication, all those things are there. Video game has become kind of a disorder now. Many children are addicted to video game. Even adults are addicted sometimes. Many adults have problem with the video game, So it's entertaining, it's enjoyable, so people get addicted to that. So in June 2018, the World Health Organization classified gaming disorder as a mental health disorder. It's a mental health disorder. So keep on playing the game. No control over that behavior. If you start in the morning, keep sitting. Once one boy had this problem. I still remember. This boy on a Saturday morning started playing the video game. He played and played and played 1 hour, 2 hours. Parents told stop. He did not even bother to look at them. 3 hours, 3.5 hours. Dad said, stop. I told you stop. No, he's not even turning. 4 hours, Dad came and just, he unplugged everything and he has to switch off everything. This boy became so wild. He became so wild, so violent that the parents could not control him. They had to call the cop to control this child who was just 11 years old at that time. So this can be really an illness, a sickness, a disorder, a mental health disorder sometimes. Also, ADHD symptoms were found in children who played video games 1 hour or more per day. This study shows. Jensen study is 2015 it was done. So constant playing of video game can cause damage to our brain. How it happens? There is a overproduction of dopamine in the brain. This overproduction of dopamine sometimes is much more than the child can contain. So same thing with the pornography, which we are going to also refer to. So when you have an overproduction of the dopamine, which is the hormone for pleasure, this child cannot contain this. It's much more than that. It damages. Then it takes a cooling down effect. This cooling down will go to depression stage in the child. This overexcitement going up too high, then it comes down. It takes all the energy down to cool down. Then the child can go to a depression stage. This play sometimes affects the brain chemistry, and sometimes children display ADHD symptom, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. Symptoms can be developed by children who play this video game constantly without control. So video game developers are making it hard to stop playing. This is what it is. There was a experiment conducted in China a few years ago. In China, they invited some volunteers and, they attached the machines to their head and they measured the amount of dopamine generated. And then now the thing is that those games that generates the maximum amount of dopamine will be more addictive. And this will be sold out more than the other games. So they will produce those things because it's a business. They need only money. They don't care about our brain. They don't care about our children. All that they want is money, and they'll make things which will make money for them. So this is important also to note. The negative influence again, some games influence the behavior of the children as they have secret sex scenes, prostitution, strip club, killing cops and stealing cars, extreme violence, gambling, etc. All these things are viewed by children, and they also get the same spirit. I told you in the beginning, you become what you see. You become what you hear. So now there's a new study that confirms the link between violent games and physical aggression. that, there was a study conducted by Bandura, social learning theory, the old study, Albert Bandura, social learning theory. Children were allowed to, they were shown violent things on the screen, and they were given, a dummy, and they started hitting the dummy, just becoming very violent. And that is so true even today. If you watch violent games, you become violent. You become what you watch. You become what you listen to. Kids choose games that excite them most exciting things they want. They watch things that can give them excitement in different levels. It can be fiction things, it can be excitement, sexual excitement. So different things they watch, they need excitement. So video game can have an influence on the brain. Having said this, I am not saying that there should not be video game. Video games, there are some wonderful games which can be really enjoyable, which children should play, and adults also can play some of the video games. It is good if it is used properly. So don't get me wrong when I say that this is all negative and bad. No, there are good things. There are good consequences also. So the cerebral cortex covers the outer portion of the cerebrum and cerebellum. It increases the gray matter occur in the right hippocampus and right prefrontal cortex and cerebellum of those who played a strategy type game. There are good games that can really be beneficial to the brain growth. There are games that will make you think. Just like as you play chess, playing chess can be helpful to train your brain. There are many things that can train your brain. So there are good games also. So you need to choose, and you need to help children to choose those things that can help them. And also limit the time. Overuse of anything can be bad. So help children to choose the right game, and also help them to limit the time of the use of things. But why video game can be negatively affecting? It can damage. So the playing first-person shooter video games would put certain users at greater risk of developing neuropsychiatric illness, such as depression, Alzheimer's disease, and so on. So shooting game, many children like, game shooting. And their brain is working in that level, and it can be very depressive after some time. Okay, so excitement will come down, later I said. Now I need to examine myself and see, am I addicted to video game? You need to get the children also make this evaluation. Sometimes when they, instead of telling them you are addicted, ask them, please consider these things. They may not agree, but then get them this message communicated to them. Playing video game for more than 3 hours a day, sometimes, even if you're free, that is a sign of addiction. Not on a regular basis, even when you're free, just today I'm off. So what I'm going to do, I play video game for 4 hours. It's a sign of addiction. That's not a healthy thing. Or prioritizing video games over other commitments. I don't care about my studies. This is what I want to enjoy. Studies will go one side, and studies will suffer because of this. So that is not really helpful. So that's a sign of addiction. Foregoing sleep to play video games. Okay, keep on playing till 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. That's a sign of addiction too. Being unable to talk to a friend or family member without this game, that's a sign of addiction. Spending more money in games despite financial hardship. I don't have money, but I'll borrow money from somebody, or I'll steal from somebody, and I just get these things. It's something like, drug addiction. Those who are addicted to drugs, they will also manipulate and get money somehow, because there's a craving for the substance, and then they want to get this substance, and then they will do anything to get this substance, even sometimes hurt people or kill people for that sake. So that is a sign of addiction. spending more money in games despite financial hardship, I said, and falling into trouble at work or with the partner due to playing video game. That's about adults. So you get into trouble with the co-workers or with the spouse. That's addiction. Now, another important thing I would like to bring into your notice is what is called the cyberbullying. We have heard about bullying at colleges. Those things used to be part of our college life. In a mild way sometimes, very harsh way sometimes, which is not all, sometimes it is just fun, it's not very harmful, but sometimes it can be very deadly and dangerous. But then cyberbullying is an electronic communication that causes victims emotional distress or fear of their safety. That is cyberbullying, which happens so often these days, and which is a crime. So it has got consequences. So the form of cyberbullying, unwelcome personal messages of violent or sexual nature. Someone sends a message to someone who is not really wanting that, those who do not need that message, or targeting someone through social media, or creating or maintaining a website dedicated to harassing a victim. So a website is created to harass a victim. That is another form of cyberbullying. Using digital communications to violate the privacy or the security of the victim. This is a cyberbullying. So can be private emails sometimes, or text messages, WhatsApp messages, phone calls, anything which makes a person frightened, afraid about their safety and security. There can be threats 24/7. They have no peace of mind. They cannot sleep. They are constantly worried, anxious, because this message is coming from different sources. So that is called a cyberbullying. Why is cyberbullying a crime? People who instigate or participate in cyberbullying may believe that they are having innocent fun. Oh, just fun. I just send a message to her or to him. It is just for fun. I am not going to do any harm. But that is not the way it is going to be taken, because it's a crime. So there is no intention of following through, but it is a serious matter because it is affecting the other person seriously. The cyberbullying can have real life consequences. It affects the behavior of the target. That means the person who is targeted. A student may stop attending school out of fear of being ridiculed. So it is a serious consequence. That has got also punishment for such behaviors. In few cases, cyberbullying targets have committed suicide. Someone have killed themselves because of this cyberbullying. So this is a serious matter. Even if you did not intend such things for the target, this is how the person is affected. So you are guilty of causing this person's death. In the college when you go, there's bullying, I said. But then cyberbullying is more damaging because this is already public. Suppose I go to the college and 3 or 4 people come and bully me, just it is over there. But cyberbullying is a public thing. It's already gone to the media, public. And it may encourage others to gang up and to target me. And bullying content is immediate and often it is permanent. It is there. Once you send something out, it is there in the world. We cannot remove it. The bullies can be anonymous, making it difficult to stop them. So that's very difficult. Now, 34% of teenagers were victims of cyberbullying. That means this is not a rare phenomenon. We need to really take it serious. We think that this is something that happens occasionally. No, 34% of teenagers were victims of cyberbullying means it's a common phenomenon. And out of this 34%, 66% of the bullied teenagers had at least one risk factor: loss of interest in life, sense of meaninglessness, hopelessness, a feeling of worthlessness, symptoms of depression they can develop. So this is a serious matter. So if your child is being bullied by anybody, you need to really help this child on time. Otherwise, child can really be affected so badly, negatively. Suppose they show some symptoms, we'll look at the symptoms later. So if they show some symptoms, we need to really jump in and help them. So it's not fun. So we need to, suppose your child, you know that your child is bullying somebody else, you come to know that it's a serious matter, we need to stop them. We need to stop them from doing that. Cyber stalking also is another thing which I don't want to take time on. Okay. Penalties of cyberbullying, in Illinois, identifies cyberbullying as a class 4 felony. It's a class 4 felony, and it has got 3 years of imprisonment and $25,000 penalty. So it's not a joke. It is a serious matter. And there is a separate charge for, suppose someone, cyberbullying and the child stops going to school, that is a different level. So it is a class A demeanor, which is less than 1 year imprisonment and up to $2,500 penalty. But a child can be suspended or expelled from school. And parents can be held liable. That's one thing we need to know. If your child does something like this, you are liable. You can be responsible. Now, some of the warning signs of cyberbullying: change of health. Suppose the child is feeling so weak and tired. You need to really take note of that. You need to inquire and you need to ask. Eating habit is changed. The child is not eating or eating too much. Sometimes, eating too much is a coping mechanism. Bulimia is an eating disorder, There are eating disorders too. One is bulimia, one is, anorexia nervosa. Bulimia is where you eat too much all the time, and you really become very unhealthy, become too fat. Anorexia nervosa is where you don't eat anything and you become so thin and skinny, and you sometimes, faint, and you can also die. So eating habits is changed. That means you need to check what is happening with the child. The sleeping pattern is changed. We need to check with the child. The grades are going down. Don't know what is happening with this child. He had been doing very well until 7th grade. Now he's in the 8th grade, and suddenly grades are simply going down. We need to really inquire what is happening. Who are his friends? What are the messages that come to his phone? So we have to really inquire. Which are the relationships? So the relationship is affected. The family, he does not talk to the parents, does not talk to anybody, very moody. So we need to question. If the person is avoiding social situations, does not want to go anywhere, just closed in his own room, the sign of cyberbullying. Afraid getting the phone call. When the phone call comes, the child is afraid. We don't know what is, maybe that person is calling me again. If that person shows that sign, then that's a problem. So emotional when looking at the phone. So looking at the phone, the message is this, and the child is becoming very emotional, then it's probably a warning sign of cyberbullying. So we need to be alert if your child is going through such experiences. And if your child is doing this to others, then you are liable, so you need to also stop that. Another aspect of this is cyber sex, which is, many people don't like to talk about. Many people are hesitant to talk about pornography or cyber sex to children because this is something, it's not particularly in our culture. I think it's very important that we impart such knowledge to our children. Otherwise, they get into more trouble. If you don't speak to them about the proper at the proper time, at the proper level of education about sexuality, they will get it from wrong sources in the wrong content. Okay, so that's very important to educate them at the proper time. You know, sometimes you can't explain the children everything. Suppose your 6-year-old is just running away from you. You went to some public place, park or theater, and he's missing. He just ran away for some time, and you are looking for this child. As soon as you saw this child, you are happy, and you just tell this child, "My child, where did you go? You should not go like this." Then the child can ask why. It's not safe. Then how do you explain this safety? You know, this 6-year-old, you can't explain everything. You can't tell that child, okay, you can be abused or something. No, we can't say that. You can say, okay, a bad person, a bad guy can take you away, and it's dangerous. We communicate in a way that is understandable to the children at that level. It's very important. So now, pornography hurts adults, children, and couples, and families, and society. I don't know how many of you would agree with me. Since I sit with the couples also, I understand this is something very detrimental to family life. So I don't know how many of you would agree with me, but then I have seen people struggling with this issue. Among the adolescents, pornography hinders their development and healthy sexuality. Among the adults, of course, it distorts their attitudes and their social realities, social relationship. In families, of course, it affects the marital satisfaction, infidelity, separation. All those things can be caused by this. Some of the facts, if I share with you, 28,258 users are watching pornography on an internet every second. That is a huge number, you know. 3,075.64 dollars are used every second on this. And 372 people are typing the word adult into search engine every second, which is a serious matter. 37, you know, to produce a movie, it will take a whole lot of effort and time. But then 37 pornographic videos are produced every day in the United States. 2.5 billion emails containing porn are sent and received every day. 68 million search queries related to pornography. That is 25% of total searches are about pornography. Just imagine. In this world, there are so many topics, so many things, but then 25% is on pornography. So this is a huge industry. Billions of dollars business. As I said about video game, this is also something that people just do to make money. So about 200,000 people are porn addicts here in USA. 40 million American people regularly visit porn sites. 35% of all internet downloads are related to pornography. So there are so many things. Facts are so many. Just I don't want to overload you with all the statistics. But then what I would like to communicate is this is a danger to our children too. Early exposure to pornography can be not very helpful for the children. It's probably more deadly than the virus that we are facing now. It's a plague in the society because it can distort reality for them. It can distort the human relationship, understanding of human beings, and people become object for those who are addicted to pornography. We don't want our children to have that kind of experience. People become object of pleasure. So here, studies show the following. Only 43 teens believe that porn is bad for society. So what's the big deal? That's the attitude. Many adults and 43% of teens have about pornography. There's nothing wrong. Yeah, if I want to watch, I will watch. What's the big deal? I'm not hurting anybody. I'm not ruining anybody's life. So that's the most dangerous thinking. So it is affecting me personally. When I do this, it will affect me because it distorts the reality of human beings in my mind. It changes my brain chemistry, it changes my thinking, it changes my attitude, it changes my relationship. So this is not helpful. It leads to sexual aggression, it leads to sexual dysfunction, it leads to rape sometimes. And it's not just a religious issue. Sometimes you think, since I'm a priest, I am speaking about this because of the religious concern. It's much more religious concern. The psychology, sociology, neurology, all studies are consistent. This is damaging the humanity. So pornography is destructive to children and adults. It ruins the relationship. It becomes a coping mechanism which also removes all the other coping strategies from the person, from the child. If I suppose I'm addicted to this particular behavior, then what happens when I'm stressed out? That is what will be giving me consolation. Anyone who is addicted to pornography, when that person is stressed out, that person will look for pornography. Addiction is that. Whenever you are in stress, when you are in trouble, your first thought will be that. So that is your coping mechanism. You have already developed that coping mechanism. And it distorts reality. I said it reprograms your brain. It distorts relationship. It lowers self-esteem. And you feel that you are away from God. So when someone views pornography, they end up creating an intimate bond with an artificial fake world and can actually lose the ability to bond with real people. This is what I would like you to know, my dear brothers. This is a reality which I have encountered in many, many people. Once I remember one couple came to me, young couple, and they are married for less than 1 year, and they are having big problem. They have everything else in the world. They have good house, they have good job, but then they cannot have intimate relationship because this guy is addicted to pornography and his world is that. He cannot have normal functioning in the family. So this is a problem that can be dangerous to the family relationship. So children, particularly if they are exposed to this when they are very young, it becomes more addictive. Anything for that matter. Early exposure is more addictive. Suppose you start taking marijuana in early ages, it's more addictive. Children will say, no problem, I can stop at any time. I have seen it several times. They cannot stop simply as they think. Yeah, so just like any other drugs, this also early exposure is highly dangerous. They have a very fake world and they are just confined to that. And what goes in will come out. What goes into my mind is going to come out. So garbage goes in, garbage comes out. So this child cannot contain these things. It is exploding. This child cannot contain this. This is much more than the child can handle. So this is damaging the brain of this child. So early exposure is more dangerous and more addictive, and it distorts reality for us. So time is running short. So this is very important that you really are aware of what is happening around. 90% of the teenagers view pornography. That's the statistics, which means your children may not be an exception. So most of the time we think, oh, my child will not be doing this. That is a false notion. Sometimes they are also doing it. So, but then what we can do, there are many, many, many ways that we can help. Some of the things, I just would like to give you some of the, this is a dangerous thing. Pornography is like carrying a snake in your backpack. It will bite you at some point. So here, what I would like to share with you is this. There are some screening. Okay. So it's a development. If you want to change, suppose someone is addicted, they can think about the change, contemplate, prepare, action maintenance is a stages of change, which you can Google and say 5 stages of change. If you Google, you'll find all these things. Overcoming sexual addiction, first of all, control senses, very important. Run away from this pornographic material, one thing, first thing. Walk away from these things, those who would like to be away from this, and respect yourself and respect others as the temple of God. I'm a temple of God, the other person. So the screen, what I see on the screen, they are not objects, they are also people. So I should not be using this. Solution to this one is you have some ways of guarding, preventing this one. One is MSFS. MSFS is a program, software, which you can install and which will track and monitor whatever is happening in the phone or the laptop computer. So if you use this MSFS, this is something which can prevent or at least monitor what is happening and control. Covenant Eyes is another one which I have used for the treatment center where I was the director. So Covenant Eyes is helpful also. So suppose somebody is using, we can tackle and we can help them to change. Net Nanny is another one which can be helpful. So it's already time. So there are some of the filters like this. Use these filters for your children so that they will not be exposed to unhealthy materials at an early age. So my dear friends, thank you for being there, and I wish all of you all the best. Continue to have these parenting sessions, and sometime in future I will also see you, and I am going back to India this weekend on Friday. So thanks for being there. Thanks for all the support that you gave me by viewing the videos, and God bless you all. Stay safe and stay blessed.
Thank you, Acha. Thank you very much. We are experiencing Achan's class for last almost 2 months, every other Sundays. And we wish you all the best. Achan is leaving next week to Kerala. So thank you. And also request the parents be available next Sunday at the same time. And encourage the same your friends and other parents of teenage children to attend this program, and you can share today's video, which is downloaded now on the YouTube. Thank you.
Thank you.